Well, the Speaker has meanwhile said that chiefs who have already assumed leadership positions must be allowed to take part in active politics. He explains that sidelining the chieftaincy institution and preventing them from taking their rightful positions to contribute effectively to governance is a factor in the country's numerous challenges. He therefore calls for an amendment of the Chieftaincy Act to reposition the chieftaincy institution as an integral part of governance.
Chieftaincy is a very, very key institution in this country. It's one of the foundation stones of our country, Ghana. And one of the reasons why we are having challenges is because we have failed to pay the necessary attention to chieftaincy. We haven't given it its rightful place of honor and glory. And I've spoken many times that it's high time we look at it. I completely disagree with the framers of the Constitution when they say that chiefs cannot play active politics. The Supreme Court has given us an explanation on that, what they meant by active politics. But the franchise, your right to vote, is made out of two ingredients. The right to vote for somebody and the right also to be voted for by some people. That's the franchise. So how can you give them half of it? The chiefs can vote for people, but no, nobody can vote for them. That definitely is wrongful and unlawful. You can say it's constitutional, but definitely it doesn't sync well with the basic principles of human rights. And I think I have been, right out from its inception, totally against it. Because politics is about development and nothing else. Politics is from the word policy. And policy is crafted by all of us to lead us, to guide us, to develop us. Leadership is about leading that. And the chiefs are our leaders, elected and installed through a process by all of us to lead us to develop. And they are being now prohibited constitutionally from performing that role. That is oxymoron. It's contradiction in terms. And these are some of the intricacies that we have to sit down to unroll. It's not right. So the Chieftaincy Act is something that we have to revisit. Because a lot of the provisions in the Chieftaincy Act are contradictory because of the confusion caused by the Constitution.
Let's have a conversation on this. I've been joined by a constitutional lawyer and former chairman of the Constitution, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee of Parliament, Yusuf Hussaini. I'm grateful for your time, sir.
Thank you, Aisha. How are you?
Doing very well, thank you. The Constitution clearly states what we should do when it comes to chiefs and active politics. It says they should stay away. What do you then make of this call coming from no meaner person than the Speaker?
Well, Aisha, I think that having introduced this topic, I need to congratulate you because you are now a lawyer. And so you have an idea about what the Constitution says. Now, congratulations for being a lawyer.
I'm not a lawyer. Mr. Hussaini, I'm not a lawyer yet.
You're not a lawyer yet?
Yes.
But you are at the law school?
Yes, I'm getting there soon.
Very well. Now, so I pray for you to get there.
Amen.
I think that we as a people decided very early, and particularly after the first Republican Constitution, to installate the chieftaincy institution against political manipulation and political participation. We did that because of our experiences in the First Republic. And so, for the Speaker to go back in time and try to resurrect what we had dealt with, what we had buried, is something that is quite worrying. Now, it is the institution of chieftaincy that is insulated against political participation. It is not a chief. Now, if you are a chief and you want to play politics, you abdicate your position. You abdicate your position. But because of the important role of the institution of chieftaincy in fostering unity, cohesion, leading social development within our traditional areas. That is why the framers of the Constitution in their wisdom said that you can't play politics, active politics, while sitting on the stool or the skin. And the Supreme Court has, as recently as 2 months ago, affirmed that decision, that a chief cannot actively participate in politics. And they've gone a step further to define activeness of a chief that is prohibited by the Constitution in terms of playing or taking part in politics. And so I don't think that this matter has been buried. The hatchet has been buried. We need as a people to protect the institution of chieftaincy. In fact, the country where we led our democracy from, the Queen does not play active politics, does she? But she was the sovereign. And I think she's still the sovereign. But when the people decided, the people of Britain through a revolution decided that the chief should be, the institution of chieftaincy and the monarch should be insulated against political participation. So it was, and so it is. That no, he doesn't play active politics because of the critical role the occupant of that institution plays in national unity and cohesion. And so, to suggest that we, as a people, should allow chiefs because they lead us in our various communities to take part in active partisan politics is to, would be infringing the constitutional provision which says that we shouldn't bring dishonor to the chieftaincy institution. Yes, so he's calling for an amendment. He's calling for an amendment to the Constitution. Another thing that we should amend the Constitution. I think the chief should have been calling for it, not the Speaker of Parliament. And I've not heard any chief say that, well, because I'm chief, I want to play active party politics, and then the Constitution limits me from doing that, and that is an infringement of my right to be a chief and still be an active participant in politics. I don't think the chiefs have said that.
If he feels that the chiefs are not being utilized, I mean, if you listen to the Speaker, he says that the chieftaincy institution should be central to our development, but he feels at this, with this arrangement, we are not really making good use of that institution.
What I'm saying is simple. I'm not talking about the institution. You are talking about the occupant of the institution. You are not saying that we should make the chieftaincy institution partisan, so that we appoint people to occupy various stools and skins based on their support for various political parties. That's not what you are saying. You are saying that chiefs must be allowed to play politics. That's what you are saying. That's what he's saying. Because we don't elect people to the chieftaincy institution based on their support for a political party, one political party or other. So the chieftaincy institution itself as an institution is insulated. And nothing prevents a chief from playing politics If a chief wants to play politics, he abdicates his position. You leave the skin or the stool and go and play. And there have been numerous cases of chiefs who have abdicated. There are many to play politics, and there are many chiefs too who have decided. And the recent case is the Nabdan chief. He was in parliament, and so when he was made a chief, he decided that you would take that position, the chieftaincy position, and so left parliament. There are others who have left the schemes and come into partisan politics. But that institution, the sanctity of that institution should be protected. Just like all over the world, the sanctity of the institution, chieftaincy institution, wherever chieftaincy has a role in uniting the people, in serving as a symbol of statehood, that institution has been insulated against partisan politics.
Let me bring in Dr. Asante. Doc, a recent case has further stamped the provision in court, in which the court was also, after the interpretation, was a bit flexible by saying that you can praise or criticize government, but you must not openly declare support or show any political color. Is it not good enough? Are chiefs not already playing their roles as an integral part of governance?
Chiefs, the role that they achieve is political because the institution is a political institution. But we are saying that we are not bringing them to the forefront of what? Partisan politics. That is distinct. So the issue of bringing the chief back to partisan politics, for me, I disagree. And I disagree totally. In the sense that the chiefs are the pivot around which the chieftaincy institution revolves. In fact, they are the cultural embodiment of their people. So you can imagine a chief who has openly declared that he is for party A and I am against it. What will happen? The call for unity, the call for, all the good things you can think about, if there is no partisan politics, will elude us. Because now, the chief is even going to expose himself the more to the vagaries of the political weather. And here I am talking about the nature of politics that we have all over the world. Politics is divisive, but I'm talking about partisan politics. It's divisive. It is also conflictual and sometimes antagonistic. We know all these things that have characterized politics. So you can imagine a chief who has declared himself that he's for this party. People will come at him. And you can imagine these big chiefs and any chief that is being insulted, is being attacked and all that. Let us remember that aspect of politics which is dirty is in and is all over. Is that what we want to expose our chiefs to? No. The speaker talks about the issue of, why is it that the chiefs have the right to vote? And we have taken another aspect of the right that be voted for. All right. Nobody has taken that right away, which my friend and brother, Mr. Fuseni, alluded to earlier on. That office, we are saying that if you want to be part, you are so convinced that you have something to share in the partisan manner, and you want to be partisan political entity or animal, why you abdicate? Leave your seat and you come into it. All right, but you can be in that office, which is sacrosanct, and hold us together. You want to be there and play partisan politics, then it's going to be a problem. And I disagree, because if you look at civil servants, that right, the speaker said that you are taking part of their right. But look at civil servants, they are not supposed to play at partisan politics, but they vote. But except that, they can't be voted for unless they resign. Security officers, have we infringed upon their right? No. So that is the issue. Imagine Supreme Court judges who are what? Canvassing for a political office and all that. Everywhere has its own dictates. So we are saying that if you are a chief occupying that institution, We don't buy you from partisan politics, you as an individual. It's an institution that we don't want to drag the institution into the political arena, which we know is characterized by so many things which we don't want our institution to have. So if you can advocate, then be that clean person in politics, come and contest. The Supreme Court gave us a clear ruling that you can what? You cannot endow anybody, but you can support policies and programs and all that. That one is a normal thing everybody can do. So he said, hey, you can do that. But if you really want to endorse somebody, then there's a problem. So I believe that let us take the Supreme Court ruling and work with it. Obviously, maybe one day we'll come face to face with a certain problem, but we will still go back for corrections.
Do you foresee that there would one day be a problem that needs to address this particular provision in the Constitution?
I'm not a lawyer, but when I saw the ruling, very good ruling, but I see that in no time we are likely to run to the Supreme Court for another consideration of an issue. Take issue of said, don't declare open support or endorse anybody. Imagine in politics, in political communication, we have what we call verbal communication and non-verbal. A leader can come to me and I make a gesture of supporting that candidate, a gesture. It's non-verbal, I've not spoken it. Is it to be considered at what? Supporting a candidate or not? Right? So the non-verbal aspect will also come up one day, and it can also be a reason for interpretation. But the good news is that is why the Supreme Court is there. That any time we have a problem, we can run to them, they look at it, they say, well, you are making sense or you are not making sense. Then they are directed. But for now, I believe that, yes, we will work with it. If we have problems, we'll go back. The non-verbal one is what comes to mind right now. Because you can come to me in my palace. Remember when the politicians go to constituencies, they visit the chiefs. And the chief can, without authoring a word, can show a certain non-verbal communication gesture supporting that candidate. And people can read so many meanings into it. And if people realize that that is the way that they can hide there and support political parties, then it becomes, the strategy for everybody. Remember that in politics, there is always the opportunity for people to take advantage of the system and work against it. There is always. So we as a society, we have to look sharp and deal with some of these things.
Well, let's see how this goes, especially as we enter into an election year. Dr. Kwame Asante, I'm grateful for your time. He's a political science lecturer at the University of Ghana. Inusa Fuseni, I'm grateful for your time. He's former chairman of the Constitution, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, and he's also a constitutional lawyer. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time. Let's move on.